Hey, we're back for a third round of Baldies Deliberations. Again, this is our dumb award show. It has no more meaning or supremacy than any other, but at least we're transparent about what we think and why we rated things the way that we did. Today we're here to talk about first round movies. These are all the movies, These are all the movies that one of us, Jim or I, have seen this year that came out this year. It does not require us to have covered it or even talked about it, but we have to have seen it at the same year it came out to be eligible. Let's dive in. You haven't seen Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
I've not.
This is the best non-Spider-Man Marvel thing that's come out since probably Avengers Endgame.
Nice. Yeah, I need to check it out.
It's pretty good. And I imagine, because I had no idea how to calibrate this guy's power level. Like, I assumed he was kind of like a Daredevil type. Mm-hmm. But he's, by the end of this movie, could easily be an Avenger, like level. You know, easily could probably duke it out with Tony Stark. So if Tony Stark were not dead, this was, has a distinctly kind of like, Asian, specifically Chinese mythic feel, like in terms of the design and some of the characters and some of the like monster design is really inspired like heavily from those legends and stuff. And I like, you see so much stuff that's based on, broadly speaking, Western culture. It's kind of nice to see that. It has a lot of heart in terms of this is about a broken family unit, a mom and dad who loved each other a lot, but had some problems, and the mother died, and the dad maybe, took a supervillain turn on that, and what that did to the kids. Then it adds like a nice little hero's journey on top of that, like, finding out that you're special and what that means, and harnessing that power, and, gathering allies and all that stuff. I really, really enjoyed it. And it's such a cool, like, it starts off, it definitely does the like Game of Thrones thing where it starts off with ice zombies and then it retreats into political intrigue for 9, episodes before you get back to dragons, okay. It hits you in the face with like this, like kind of like, almost, Crouching Tiger, Hidden, dragon type, like fantasy wushu combat. Mm-hmm. And then to start the mythos, and then it withdraws in like modern day San Francisco and becomes like a early Jackie Chan action film where it's all practical effects and like funny kind of like prop based combat, and it smoothly ramps up into more and more dangerous and professional and ever supernatural feats of martial arts, and it's just it's really fun. So
nice.
Big thumbs up on this Marvel project. I'm interested to see how they integrate him into the cinematic universe going forward. To the top.
Okay.
It's already there.
Yeah.
Godzilla vs. Kong.
All right. That's a big, dumb action movie. I mean, not particularly dumb. Like, it has a little bit of heart with that young girl. I liked some of that stuff.
I feel like this is easily the best of the modern monster movies, of this monster cinematic universe that they've kind of created with Godzilla and Gojira and Mothra and Mechagodzilla, all that stuff. Like, This definitely wove in all that different stuff that they've been doing and felt very satisfying. Stupid, but like knows it's stupid, but also just has some amazing, like some of the individual fight scenes between Godzilla and King Kong and their like taunting of each other and stuff, I thought was just really entertaining.
Yeah, I did end up liking the aircraft carrier scene quite a bit. Them jumping around on those stupid things.
Or there's one scene in particular I always think of where Godzilla atomic fires a hole, like, I don't know, 1,000 miles deep into the Earth's core. Mm-hmm. So it can mean mug Godzilla and be like, I'm coming for you, bitch. Do you see me? Yeah, like it's, oh man. And I see clear psychosexual charge in the right. Godzilla vs. King Kong main event fight at the end.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But it's a big dumb action. I mean, this is a floater if I've ever seen one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can't in good conscience move it at all.
They gotta stop trying to inject human drama. Like we started off with the Godzilla, where they brought it all out with Bryan Cranston and what's his face, and like there's like really like almost more pathos than there was monster. Yeah. Now there's much more monster than pathos. All the pathos, just get rid of it. I don't need to see Millie Bobby Brown and her deadbeat dad's relationship. And
yeah, that was a bit of a problem. There were some things around the edges with her group that, boy, I didn't like. But
I did like the deaf girl and her relationship with like that she developed with Kong over the sign language stuff. The girl who kind of grew up on the Skull Island Preserve. There's some, like I said, there's some pathos, like like the old Godzilla. If you got a kid that's got a special affinity for the monster, I'm okay with that. But I'd stop trying to make me care about this guy's podcast and this girl's relationship with their mom and dad. No, I don't care. Just get to the monsters punching.
Yeah.
Speaking of monsters punching, Mortal Kombat 2021.
I was surprised at how good this was, actually, because the Mortal Kombat movies have a reputation, and it's not a super positive one. They're
Unless you're
dumb.
talking about soundtrack.
Sure.
And if you're talking about soundtrack, super positive, but everything from there goes downhill.
Yeah, so going into this one, I'm like, well, I guess I'm in store for a really stupid, hokey action movie. And it was better than that. I liked some of the characters. I liked some of the actors in it. The dude who's playing the shitbag, is it Kano? I can't remember.
Oh, the Australia, Kane. Yeah. I think it's just Kane. Is it Kano?
No, I don't remember, but I can't remember that character's name for some reason. He was really good. I enjoyed his performance quite a bit, even if he was a shitbag.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
And the only thing I didn't like about that movie, I guess, is the main character is kind of flat through most of it. He's not like, I don't know. He's the straight man and kind of all the other insanity that's going on around him.
There was a lot of like generic good guys that I kind of lost track of, between like Liu Kang and what who all do you have in that? Cao Lang and Liu Kang. Like there's a lot of them that like I thought they were the same character in Mortal Kombat. And that's the other thing is like I stopped paying attention to Mortal Kombat universe around Mortal Kombat 3 or so. So a lot of these guys stepping on stage, I'm like, I don't know. Like, but
yeah. But I had fun with that movie. I liked it more than Godzilla vs. Kong, actually.
Yeah. Do we want to float it one above, or do we want to just like say it's a float or a sinker? Or okay,
I'd move it up to
I'm
2.
cool with that. Army of the Dead.
What a piece
I didn't see
of
this
shit.
movie. I was wanting to. I went on vacation that week and came back, and you're like, don't bother.
No, it's terrible. I hated Army of the Dead. Jason from Podcastica and I did a podcast about it when you were out of town, and he didn't even really like it. I mean, he wasn't as hard on it as I was, because that's kind of what I do, and that's kind of what he does. Is he likes things, and
tries
that's
see
fine.
The good in things. Yeah.
Yeah. But he came in pretty negative on that podcast too, which should tell you something. Boy, I just don't think Zack Snyder can do anything other than remakes and adaptations. The only 2 things I've ever seen him do that I enjoyed were Dawn of the Dead remake and Watchmen. So I don't know. Yeah. This was a piece of shit. I hated it to the bottom.
Yeah. To the bottom. To the bottom, he says. All right. We don't usually do to the bottom.
It had an undead tiger and it fucking sucked. How is that possible?
How do you do that?
How is that possible?
How do you do that? You innovate on The Walking Dead and you fuck up. You can't even do an undead tiger.
Right.
How about A Quiet Place Part 2?
Oh, I like that. That was unnecessary. Totally unnecessary, right? Quiet Place was a very good movie, standalone, didn't need a sequel, got a sequel. It's probably going to be in our biggest, highest risk, highest reward category also. But
ooh, I should probably make a note of that.
Yeah, if it's not in there, I'll put it in there right now. But okay, I really liked that movie.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was a challenge to try to recapture the magic, and I don't know that Man, the biggest problem in this movie is also part of its charm, which is it's got young kids acting independently because they have to, and some of the decisions they make are just stupid because they're dumb kids. And it's frustrating, but this movie is, man, John Krasinski knows how to make a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
There's like 3 different set pieces that are like a Russian Matryoshka nesting doll of set pieces where it's like the mother is doing an independent thing and she's kind of wounded and low on ammo and she's being menaced. At the same time, the kid is watching the baby and oxygen's running out and he's got to decide whether he needs to open the door, or while at the same time his deaf sister is out in the wilderness and her hearing aid is shorted out, while at the same time Cillian Murphy is like held hostage on a boat full of cannibals, and like the thing keeps switching in like 30-second increments, and every time you go around to a different part of the thing, the tension ratchets tighter.
Yeah,
it's very stressful watching this movie, and I think that's a testament to it.
And I absolutely love, I've noted this over the past like 10 years or so. I fucking love seeing the beginning of apocalyptic events. Like War of the Worlds is one of those movies where I just look at War of the Worlds and I'm like, fuck, that is cool. And this movie does that, right? It goes back to the beginning of the Quiet Place invasion thing and kind of shows you that thing, the whole baseball scene, softball scene, whatever it is. I really love that scene. I thought it was great. And also super tense, right? Hiding out in this restaurant or wherever they were in. And yeah, I thought the beginning of this is great and it just gets better as it goes. So
yeah, the world, the universe building of these monsters that can only hear sound leads to a naturally tense environment where everything is silent and you can hear a pin drop. And then when a loud sound happens, it's jarring and usually means that your characters are going to be in mortal danger right the fuck now. And that's a nice little efficient engine, you know?
And the island thing, like them getting across the water was yeah, that was terrifying.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. To the top?
It would be for me, certainly. But
okay,
I don't know what you feel about Shang-Chi.
I feel like we're getting too much into minutia of adjusting things. Okay. You didn't see In the Heights, did you?
No.
In the Heights, okay, I want to talk about something. Lin-Manuel Miranda. We talked about he's not like a legendary rapper. He's like a cool uncle dad rapper.
Sure.
I don't understand. Like I've seen a lot of hot takes because he's had some big years of late. You know, he had the Hamilton special, which you know already got all these flowers off of that's run on Broadway. He did Moana. He did Encanto last year. Writes all these, and I'm getting a lot of his takes as like, you know, oh, Lin-Manuel. It's like you anytime a Lin-Manuel song comes on the air, you instantly know it. Oh, it's a stale style. Like, what? When did having a recognizable style become a detriment? Like, does anybody be like, oh, Jesus Christ, 3 words out of his mouth, I know this is Snoop Dogg track. Like. It's like, yeah, I don't think that the trick of the dancing bear is not that the bear dances amazingly, the fact that it dances at all, you know? Like Lin-Manuel can write these like really insightful and catchy tunes that are also able to be vital to propelling the plot forward or setting the stage or revealing an interesting character detail. And he does it well and entertaining. And again, did I mention they're catchy, usually earworm type stuff, kind of mild bangers. Like, what do we want from this man? I thought In the Heights was a hell of a lot of fun and had a lot of heart. It had some really innovative, you know, it had a lot of innovative musical stuff. Like there's a 0G kind of dancing scene where these two people in love are kind of start dancing on the street, but then they like walk up to the side of the building and they're, you know, doing really fun, clever things with the fire escapes and stuff. There's like a jaw dropping sequence where they're all at the pool and there's kind of like semi-aquatic, synchronized kind of swimming going on and everyone's in colorful costumes and towels and it's all swirling around and it's choreographed. I mean, it just movie felt fun to watch. And it's a quintessential American story of, you know, generational struggles of immigrants, getting acceptance in the country, the ones that do and make it and the ones that don't. And I thought it was great. This is the thing I guess he wrote and was on Broadway before Hamilton.
Okay.
And him directing it with a big budget for HBO. I thought it was great. I don't know. I want to send it to the top because it's better than Godzilla and Mortal Kombat, but we'll see.
Okay.
And keep in mind, I'm a sucker for musicals.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Conjuring 3.
Did I see this? I don't think I saw this.
I think the asterisk means you didn't see it. I liked the Ed and Lorraine, spooky paranormal investigation story that centered around what's his name, Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. It's all a bunch of bullshit. It's not a true story. But they're getting a lot of mileage now that this couple's getting older and Ed's got heart problems. He could have a heart if his heart gets stressed, he could die at any time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's really fucking stressful? Dealing with a full-on demonic invasion.
Yeah.
So they don't even have to the monster doesn't even have to hang him out a window or put him over a sword. He could just get scared and die.
Yeah.
And I care enough about Ed and Lorraine that even though these are not nearly the movie that The Conjuring 2, some of the better James Wan things, it's still in this. I think it's still pretty good, but it's a floater if I've ever seen one. I don't know why the hell you'd watch this over The Conjuring, if you're wanting to
Gotcha.
get that kind of tingle in the back of your neck kind of sensation that James Wan does so well. F9, baby.
Oh, yeah. Talk about your big, dumb action movies. This is about the dumbest that you could imagine. I mean,
I saw Vin Diesel swing like Tarzan from a vine, only with a muscle car.
I saw Ludacris take a Pontiac Fiero into space.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Holy shit. Where do you go from here? I keep asking, where do they go from here? And space was the next logical conclusion, and they've gone there.
It's the final frontier, except for it won't be. There'll be a F10. It's, what's a damn shame? It seems like Vin Diesel's ego is getting in the way because he's got this massive fight with The Rock, and now they're not going to be in each other's movies. And they, had this really cool stable of badass characters with Jason Statham. They had all the tools they need to make essentially a ensemble James Bond franchise. All these exotic locales and the high-tech gadgets and the stunt work and all. And I feel like Vin shit the money bed. But that doesn't have anything to do with this film. I love that they're finding a way to keep Brian alive. He's just the stay-at-home dad that watches everybody's kids and
sure,
has a silhouette appearance as he's waving, as he's pulled, they're just passing in the driveway kind of. I like these movies. It's a floater. It's probably going to rise a bit, but
I mean, I enjoyed it a hell of a lot more than Mortal Kombat. But it's not going above A Quiet Place for me. No way.
And speaking of shit in the money bed, Marvel with the Black Widow. In a sane world, Black Widow gets a really tight trilogy of badass James Bond, Marvel-esque espionage on par with the Winter Soldier type of thing.
Yeah.
But instead, they kill her, and then she gets to be the first, she gets her movie afterwards, and it's all this stuff felt ill-conceived.
She gets to be a bridge between the two phases of the Marvel shit.
Yeah, and she gets to help Florence Pugh essentially just to replace her. She's just going to full-on replace her. It's going to Control-C, Control-V character drop. I
mean, Florence Pugh, while not a visual upgrade from Scarlett Johansson, because honestly, who is? But Florence Pugh is awesome. She was easily the best part of this movie, without a doubt. Her performance is great.
And she's delightful in the Hawkeye Christmas special, except where she's bearing the weight of being the bridge to another Black Widow character. When she's just being cool and sassy and irreverent and putting the young Hawkeye in her place, it's great. But whenever she's talking with Clint about her sister's sacrifice and what it meant and all, it's like, oh God, no. I thought this movie is mediocre to below. This is on par with some of the Superman, Batman shit that Zack Snyder got up to. Just cynical, passionless mess of CGI action sequences. There's a couple of things that were good there. Like I really liked the relationship between her and her sister and their adopted dad. Put together as a cover dad in the form of David Harbour, but it just never quite got going for me.
I'm with you. I mean, it was better than anything Snyder's done, in my opinion. But yeah, sure.
But it's not
anything
like
he's done with those superhero movies.
It's around the level of an Aquaman, I think.
Yeah, that might be fair.
Maybe better than Aquaman, worse than the first Wonder Woman, but it's in that class, and that's unusual for Marvel to be slumming around in those neighborhoods.
Sure.
So, how about the Green Knight?
This will be this.
Oh,
and
by the way, Black Widow floater.
Yeah.
I just assumed it is okay.
Totally. Green Knight and Pig are going to be two really hard ones to judge because they're. I hated this movie, you loved it, and vice versa on Pig, right?
Well, I didn't hate Pig, but yeah, I take your meaning.
Yeah.
I wish I had a chance to see this movie again because this movie looked amazing and it felt amazing to watch. I don't know how much there is there.
Okay.
Like it's just a visual painting of a movie. And I suspected there might be deeper themes at play there, but it's I don't know, maybe not. Maybe it's just a gorgeous film. It's a retelling of a very ancient kind of like myth, and with a lot of style and a lot of cinematography and a lot of like really good effects work
and a lot of runtime
design
and a lot of.
Was it really long? I didn't think it was that long.
Well, it's about 3 times longer than it needed to be based on the shot list because. Boy, those shots. Boy, the pacing. Boy, that A24-ness of it.
Yeah, you say that like it's a bad thing. I guess
Well, that's the thing. Like I looked at the list of.
It's 2 hours 10 minutes. I guess.
That's not so bad, but yeah, I've come to appreciate. I like more A24 stuff than I let on. But this was not one of those that I liked.
I mean, I would take this to the top just because I think it's easily better than the next 5 films. But you gonna resist that? Okay.
No, take it to the top. We'll talk about it.
Top. Yeah, I don't think I'll stay there, but
yeah.
Malignant.
I didn't see this either.
Malignant is the James Wan. It was definitely sold as a horror film, but it has a lot more in common with Unbreakable, the M. Night Shyamalan kind of superhero origin story.
Okay.
And it has got... In fact, I might have you over this weekend to do a double turn and watch it because this movie takes a turn around the rounding into the final act that is so fucking incredible and crowd pleasing that like I just couldn't believe some of the shit I was seeing. It's so much fun and so audacious in its kind of character design of the central kind of horrific thing that's happening. The reveal of what's actually happening versus what you think is happening is so kind of clever and satisfying. And then the resolution of it is so interesting to watch that I think if you like horror and action films at all, you got to give this movie a try. It's not good, but it is unlike anything you've ever seen. And just like, yeah, if you like The Boys, stuff that's like super fucking violent and inventive in the way it is, and irreverent in the way it kind of enjoys splattering bodies across the screen, I think you'd like Malignant. But it's probably, again, the definition of a floater. It might float, it might sink, but it's not going to rise to the top for damn sure.
Okay.
Pig?
Yeah, so this is the Nick Cage movie where he is a truffle hunter who sells his found truffles to let's say the elites of the the cooking industry, the culinary industry. And he has this truffle hunting pig that he loves and that is the source of his financial stability. And also he has a relationship with this pig. Like it's very much like a John Wick sort of setup, although that's kind of how it was pitched to me, is like, oh, this is Nick Cage in a John Wick sort of movie. It's not that. Holy shit, it's not that. The setup,
it's not
is
completely
like
not that. Like
Uh-huh.
that. Like they could say the straight face to kind of rope you in, but I thought it was kind of a disservice to the movie.
I agree. Yeah, it set me up with expectations that could not have been met because it's not that kind of movie. But that said, I think this is a extremely well constructed film. I think this is like, if I were to say something about it, this is like a film that has been thoroughly groomed, right? Like, and not in the gross way, but like, you know, it's been
Hey, I got a puppy in this van, kid. Why don't you come over and you like puppies, right?
No, but you know what I mean? It's been gone over with a fine-tooth comb, and every single detail has been put exactly into place, and
it is composed.
Yes. And that's kind of the point too, because of the topic, right? It's this fine art food world kind of thing, where they take food very seriously. And I felt like the script itself took itself as seriously as you would a dish that you're composing if you're one of those high level cooks or chefs.
I am kind of surprised that the A24-ness of this didn't bother you, because this is like very paint by numbers A24, very like lavish in its use of lighting and texture and and how it treats its characters and the seriousness of the material and the sobriety of the dialogue, even though there's like kind of some crazy Nick Cage stuff happening in the margins. I just feel like this movie nobody would care if it didn't star Nick Cage.
Yep.
And also because Nick Cage stars it, like the fact that it's like, oh my God, this guy, if he gives two shits on any random day, can put in a performance.
Yeah, he's
like
great.
People forgot, like it's kind of like someone coming back to life briefly. It's a magic trick. But on the other hand, like that's not a valid thing to say, that like it's be like if you said, you know, if Anthony Hopkins wasn't in Silence of the Lambs, probably nobody would give a shit about that movie.
Right.
Well,
because he is in Silence of the Lambs.
He was, and he was amazing. So what are we even talking about here? I wish I got a chance to see this again. Because I wonder if my first knee-jerk reaction was so just like, oh, I felt kind of jerked around by the campaign.
Yeah,
I felt like I read so much positive buzz about how this is Nick Cage and he's back and he's like, oh, it's such a good, and that like when it wasn't perfect, it kind of, you know, and wasn't anything like I was expecting, it kind of like turned me off. But I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm a bad judge of this movie.
Ended up really liking it. I mean, I feel like it goes. I would want to put it to the top if we're putting.
Let's put it to the top.
Green Knight to the top.
I think it's much better than the next 5 movies. So to the top.
Oh, hell
you know, we fucked up. We're supposed to just put these up and down and then do detailed breakdowns when we go through and actually do the. But I mean, we can just do the category the way we're doing.
Okay.
How about, I think the reason we did that is we guys got started with a bunch of movies neither one of us had both seen. So
Right.
Candyman
was excellent.
Candyman was amazing. It's to the top. We can talk about it more there, or we can come back for it. But Candyman was somehow exactly what I thought it was going to be, and also more than I thought it was going to be, and kind of cemented this amazing run that Yahya Abdul-Mateen II is on.
Yeah.
As a guy who like I want to watch a lot more of, and I'm going to see a lot more of, because he's a star on the rise.
Mm-hmm.
You also have, what's his name? Carlos Domingo.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Was that his name?
The dude from Walking Dead or Fear the Walking Dead?
No, that's not his name. It's something, though.
I think Domingo is right, but
Domingo's right. I can find. I just cast Zola.
Coleman Domingo.
Coleman Domingo. That guy is another one who is one to keep your eye on because he's got real. He's got something. He's got a recipe that a lot of people aren't following. It's very charismatic, and it can go anywhere from like he's kind of like an Idris Elba type where he can play like absolute hero or the blackest of villainy, or he can go like just like full on, he's got like a crazy gear that I don't think Idris has.
Yeah, I agree.
An unhinged gear that you can see certainly in Candyman, certainly in Zola, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Yeah, we'll talk more about Candyman. Jungle Cruise is going to float on this river for me.
Yeah, me too. It's The Rock's Disney movie. I feel like Paul Giamatti kind of makes that movie for me.
He's pretty good.
But, makes the movie doesn't mean it's the best movie of the year. So I'm cool with that just floating.
Yeah. I love Emily Blunt is in this too, isn't she?
Yes, she is.
I love Emily Blunt. She had a good year with this and A Quiet Place 2. She's very charming with The Rock. The Rock was obviously very charming. I liked her relationship she has with her brother in this movie. I also like how she's kind of badass, but not in a feminine Indiana Jones kind of way. Like she's kind of like, doesn't really have a plan and kind of careening from place to place, but it's less with physicality and more with like guile and agility instead of just like, beefy punches and bullwhips and stuff. But yeah, it's a fun adventure movie. If you got a family, check it out. But it's floating on down the river for us. The Suicide Squad.
Not to be confused with Suicide Squad.
Yeah, the generic. That's the Suicide Squad your mom has at home. This is the Suicide Squad. I've taken this one to the top.
Yeah, as far as fun movies go this year, that might be the most fun.
And it served as a launch pad for fucking Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Peacemaker's not eligible, right? It came out in January.
It did, yeah. It's going to be in next year's Baldies.
God, we got to keep that fucking in mind. Yeah, original release January 13th, and it's done. It's already out. It's already done. Okay, Zola. This is a wild movie that I recommend people watch. It is based on a Twitter thread.
Okay.
Of this woman's experience meeting another woman at a strip club saying, my man's got this route that we take in Florida where we hit a bunch of clubs and then like one weekend we can make thousands and thousands of dollars. And the ensuing road trip of madness when she finds out her man is not just a man but a pimp, and the pimp is shit, we just said his name, Carlos Domingo, Coleman Domingo.
Yep.
And he is like flashes between Jekyll and Hyde in this fucking movie. He's super charming, super trustworthy, super violent, super insane. And like this movie is extremely funny, but like every fucking second of like the last half of this movie is drips with menace because almost anything could happen. Like there's almost any level of violence and assault that could break out at any minute, but yet it's also consistently super fucking funny because it's just like this situation this girl finds herself in. It's a lot of fun. It's like breezy. Like I don't think it's even 90 minutes long, and it's also really fun to dive into the backstory because almost every person in this movie, not only you have the original Twitter thread, but everyone had their own kind of social media thread where they had like this Rashomon kind of their own take on this trip that happened and who said, he said, she said. It's really funny. I think it's going to float though. I can't quite take it to the top. It's not that kind of movie, but it's worth your time if you like trashy kind of gossipy, funny and also just, yeah, it's maybe some tough to watch stuff. But it's like everything's going to be okay. It's like when I told my kid like in those movies, like, you see Star Wars and you think the rebels are going to get killed and everything's going to die, but like, trust me, everything's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Everything will be okay in this movie, broadly speaking. But by God, it feels like the Death Star is going to blow up Yavin a couple times. That brings us over to Many Saints of Newark.
It's a floater if I've ever seen one. This is the Sopranos prequel.
This would be a fine gangster film, except for it's got the pedigree of being a Sopranos prequel, and people expected it to be so much more. And all it really delivers is James Gandolfini's son doing a really, really fucking good young Tony Soprano.
Yeah, he's really good.
And I have like Corey Stoll's a really good Uncle June. I thought everyone did great work. It's just this movie wasn't quite worth being made, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But I'll be eternally grateful for it because I don't think I'd ever would have watched The Sopranos, certainly not in the marathon kind of compulsive style I did, had this movie not come out. And I now know why this movie, or that The Sopranos is held in such esteem. There's really nothing quite like it. Like perfectly blended humor, action, violence, sex, character development, social commentary. Like, it is awesome.
In an era when that stuff wasn't done on basically every television show.
It is a little bit bloated and operatic, and it meanders a bit, but like the beginning and end of this stuff of the Sopranos run was so fucking good. Boy, yeah, I like that. But Many Saints of Newark, very, very average.
Yeah, agreed. How about James Bond? No Time to Die.
To the top.
I liked it. So this is the one with Rami Malek as the villain who's trying to do some virus stuff. I don't know.
Yep. Yep.
I don't remember a ton of it. I remember a couple of scenes. I remember the ending, obviously. But it's definitely like you need to kind of have seen previous Daniel Craig Bond movies to really get the most out of it. Because otherwise, because it leans pretty heavily, it just picks up sort of exactly where we left off in another movie.
It's a direct sequel to Spectre, which is a shame because Spectre was kind of a Garbo James Bond film. But
I like Christoph Waltz a lot. And he's got a cool scene in this. I did like him in this movie.
And that's the thing. It's like, I think that this is the first Bond series that was kind of holds together as like, it's got a very good beginning, middle, and end. And even if you don't like Spectre and Quantum of Solace, the fact that they kind of set up and support things that are really important to happen in Skyfall and No Time to Die, which are excellent. I do want to, like, that's something me and Cecily want to do now that after the Groundhog Day James Bond stuff, we gave out all of our James Bond collections, but like, fuck yeah, I wanted one of those, and I bought one for ourselves.
Yeah.
And I want to sit down and watch all of the Daniel Craig's, like, bam, 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 because I bet I'll like it even more. But even with like hazy kind of like memories of the connections and the villains and why everybody cares and who the relationships were, this, is right up there with like On Her Majesty's Secret Service as something that really adds and depth and shading to James Bond, the character.
Yeah.
And it's a great final chapter to the Craig era.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it does go up to the top.
All right. No Time to Die. It's
a great fight scenes too.
At the top.
There's a staircase fight scene, or stairwell fight scene. I don't know. That's pretty incredible.
Who's the lady from Knives Out? The star of the
Jamie
house
Lee
cleaner?
Curtis. What?
No.
I don't know her name.
She's incredible. I really think she's going to be a big star. Her name's something
it's being shouted.
Ana de Armas. I'm being screamed at.
Okay.
Ana de Armas. I liked like these kind of junior James Bond operatives that kind of introduced the new 007s replacing 007. This was shot by Corey Fukuyama. God damn it. Fukunaga?
Fukunaga? Yeah.
And, this is the guy who you got on my map for doing, all the directing and cinematography for season 1 of True Detective. And oh my God, does this guy know how to point the piece of glass and catch some fucking light. Mm-hmm. It looks amazing. All of the Bonds of the modern era look amazing, but this even more so. What do you think about Dune 2021? Because to me, this is to the top of the bullet.
Yeah, I could put it to the top. I don't know. It's weird because it's half of a story that I haven't read.
That's the knock on it. Yeah.
So, and I think like the ending of that shouldn't have been the ending of that. That movie did not break at the right place.
I feel that's correct. I do not know like what they'll do with part 2, and keep in mind, in my opinion, this is the not good half of Dune. Like to the extent that Dune has a good half and a bad half. Like Dune is a lot of like the first third of it just setting up the story that they really want to tell. And they're like in the middle of that, and then the movie just abruptly ends. I think you're right. Like they should have probably stopped with the destruction of a certain house and then just fade to black and then pick up. And this would be a great place to come in on the new one, right? Like it sets up a lot of stuff, but yeah. But I think they can yada yada a lot of like development that you'll just kind of get, so they can get to the good parts of the next Dune. But I mean, God, we are in such a feast right now for science fiction fans, because the scale and world building between this and Foundation, my God, like. Yep. This is stuff I wish I could see, when I was a kid. Once you outgrow Star Wars and you want something a little bit more gritty and textured than Star Trek, in the books, you had tons of stuff. You had Dune, and you had Foundation and Ringworld, but like seeing these things come to the screen with the seriousness that they deserve, everything. The design of everything was fucking amazing. The cast is incredible. And it was coherent, which doesn't sound like the original Dune movie was. No. Okay. They're just so, well, I mean, that's what that happens when you get someone that's not David Lynch to do something and also give them like 3 times the screen time and probably 100 times the budget to do something. Yeah. But yeah, it's great. I'm very excited for the promise of getting it the second volume, and we'll see what they do with that. Because like, man, there's tons more Dune where that comes from. Sure. If you just want to do the main line that Frank Herbert wrote himself, there's like 5 more books. Yeah. The Last Duel. I was not super impressed by this. Really? Yeah, because I keep on thinking about it. Stuff. I keep thinking. I keep finding myself thinking about this movie more than most that I saw this year, and because a lot of times it comes up as the butt of a lot of people's jokes, like Ben Affleck with stupid hair. And, I mean, yeah, there's that. I mean, everyone has bad hair in this movie, except for maybe Adam Driver. Yeah. But I don't know. I think this movie is now underrated. I think it's warped back around, and it's I think people that are now seeing it as like almost like a Razzie level of entertainment are watching it on HBO and thinking, holy shit, this is a movie that looks amazing and has got a very interesting. God, I'm going to use Rashomon again twice in a podcast. Rashomon structure of like, what's being told correctly. And it tells you something about society now and society then, and kind of yourself, how you're scoring this stuff as it goes down, and the early concepts of medieval justice, and the duel itself was incredible. I like this more and more. I don't know if I want to send it to the top, but I feel might be right. I probably need to see it again. Yeah. I feel like it's more top worthy than anything else that I can see on the screen, except for God, Shang-Chi's already dropped down to 9. That won't be where it says. I'm gonna send it to the top. Yeah, some of the stuff's going to the top just because that's our thing now. Just because that's our thing. Yeah. Eternals to the bottom. That movie sucked. This movie was trash. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't like to like you have to look real hard to find something fun or exciting about this movie. I mean, with the number of superhero movies, the sheer quantity
of superhero stuff, you can't make an even mediocre superhero movie. It has to be excellent. And if it's not, I'm not interested, because I can get my fix on any street corner, man. And if your shit's stepped on, I don't need it. Sorry.
Product. Yeah, this was the CG looked bad. The fights were uninspiring, and the worst kind of like nebulous defined superpower kind of like, you know, and they tried this movie wants to be kind of like operatic and gothic in the way that like DC superheroes are, but they have to the fucking Marvel formula means they got to bust each other's chops and have some jokey jokes, and
there's only one character that's even kind of funny, and I did enjoy him. It's the sidekick of, is it Kumail? Yeah, it's Kumail's videographer or whatever. Yeah,
his video producer or whatever.
I found him funny, but that was like the only bright spot in this movie.
Yeah, and it was a shock because I went in that movie thinking, well, you know, it's a well-regarded, up-and-coming director. You know, this is a team of superheroes I don't know much about, but that didn't stop Guardians of the Galaxy from... I was just honestly shocked at how amateur this thing felt coming out of the gate. So,
yeah.
To the bottom of that shit. Harder They Fall, this is an instant to the top for me.
Hell yeah. It's a black cowboy movie.
It's a black cowboy movie. I am in favor of cowboy movies, like getting this kind of unique perspective.
It's a very traditional Western in its format.
Hell yeah. Yeah. And like, it also uses, the thing is like, coming out of the gate, you're going to have some people being like, a black cowboy movie, why don't you take this woke shit and shove it up your ass? Like the fact that these were all historically important characters that I'd even heard of before, largely because of like the Watchmen.
Yeah, Bass Reeves. Yeah,
Bass Reeves, the first Black Ranger. Like all of these were like, I think except for maybe Jonathan Majors. Okay. I think all of these were actually historical, like Doc Holliday level characters, only black, because it turns out black people were a big part of the West settling it, and as important as along with their Latino counterparts and forging like what we think of as the modern cowboy. And you know, like I said, none of this is necessarily, there is some certain commentary. Like when you go to see, isn't there like is a town called White Town?
And it's all painted white. Whereas like the town that they live in, the town that the black people are in are sure. It's just like colorful and vibrant.
Of course. So there is definitely, but like this is not about that. This is mostly about, you know, like Wild West shit.
It's a revenge story. First and foremost,
which I want to say the blackest of revenge stories, but that I don't mean that way.
Literally, sure.
Yeah, no, there's some Heart of Darkness stuff, but then they have like a really great twist at the end.
Yes.
They got some like legendary fucking gunfights. The
train
cast
robberies,
is fucking amazing.
Like all that stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you got like, and it's too bad that movies aren't eligible for our actors because we're a TV first thing, because man, you got the cast here. Like I said, Jonathan Majors, Regina King, Lakeith Stanfield, Idris Elba playing, speaking of like a real motherfucker. We talked about him having that villain. He's like got that gear active here. It's great. It goes to the top. We'll see how it dukes itself out of there. Spider-Man No Way Home going to take this to the top.
Yeah. This is what I'm talking about. Like, you can't make a mediocre superhero film because Spider-Man is doing it right.
And it's wild because like, how much longer can Marvel keep go big or go home? Like, it seems like I saw the trailer for Doctor Strange's thing, and that looks like a fucking lunatic film. You know, like this audacious idea of like, yes, we will. Not only will we reclaim Spider-Man from Sony, but we will take Sony's shit and make a better version of it, and like serve nostalgia to 3 different generations of active Spider-Man fans. Brilliant.
Yeah.
We'll talk probably more about later. 8-Bit Christmas.
I really like this movie.
Take this fucker to the top.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the Neil Patrick Harris NES Christmas Story is essentially what this is. It's he's telling the tale to his daughter of him as a young man in the 1980s, as a kid in the 1980s, trying to get an NES. And that's the BB, the gun, the BB Rider.
This is a Gen X Christmas story. A Christmas story is a boomer Christmas story. This is a Gen X Christmas story, and there's like I said, there's one sour note involving the film's primary antagonist, the bully.
Yeah, but everything else
like much of that.
Just so good. I absolutely love the end of this movie. There's just so much heart packed into that.
Maybe a little too much heart.
Do you think so?
I wasn't expecting as much emotion like the end of like that's not the Christmas story it doesn't have you reaching for the Kleenex box in the last 5 minutes.
For sure.
But I don't know that that's an invalid thing. It's just like I watched this with a bunch of Christmas festivities with my family, with my sister and her kids, her adorable children there, and my nephew and we're all in this room and we're all just having so much time. And then like me and my sister, like a blubbering, I wish there was some flashing red, like, hey, so I could have composed myself, but I don't know. Like I said, that's not exactly a flaw of the movie. No,
I think it's great.
Yeah. So yeah, it's great. How about Matrix Resurrections? Like,
it has some problems, but not as many as not enough to disqualify it. I feel like it's better than it kind of had any right to be for how unnecessary it was.
Yeah, like you took a filmmaker and you said, we're going to make another Matrix movie, whether you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, if you don't make it, it's going to be the cashiest cash grab that's ever grabbed cash.
Right.
It's going to have zero heart. It's going to probably actively work against the messaging that you've carefully woven in this thing. And Lana Wachowski's like, fuck, okay, I guess I'll do it under duress. And found a way to like mock the project as the same time she's like taking it in a radically different direction. And it became about like what it's like for a creator to lose control over their creation. And
I thought some of that got in the way in the early going for me.
A little bit.
I thought it was too much there. But yeah, sure.
And the fact that I don't think her heart is really in hardcore action anymore, because some of the action, what should have been big climactic action sequences of Neo and Trinity kicking ass together, just became lazy green screen shots of Keanu Reeves kind of doing this on the back of a motorcycle and force pushing. That's all he did, just force pushed everything away.
Yeah, but I don't know that I hold that against him too much, because like the Matrix. The original Matrix hit at the perfect time. Sure. It could not have happened before then. And if it had happened 5 years later, nobody would have cared, I think, because visually it just changed everything. And you can see it. If you look at early 2000s fashion, it dominated the fashion industry. It was everywhere. You just can't, I don't know how you would do that today. I really don't know how you would up your ante and change the game again, because everything is just so polished now. You can literally put anything you want on screen. It's hard to impress me with pure visuals anymore.
Yeah. And I think this movie did have some impressive visuals, like the way they
I like the body rain. It was pretty sweet, but like
the reverse Matrix thing where you've got like you can take programs out of the Matrix and give them this digitized body. I thought some of that stuff was really cool. It's a little bit underdeveloped and underwritten, some of the world building of like, how the machine, this ragtag group of men, women, and machines are kind of like coming together. I'd like to see more of that, but what we got, I thought, was pretty good considering the backstory of how we got it. So
sure.
Do we float this or take it to the top? Like
it's not going to hit the top. I can think of a lot of things I like more, but
yeah, but
we can take it to
the top 10. Let's just take it to the top 5.
Yeah, and we'll sort those here in a bit.
All right. Don't Look Up. I haven't seen this, Jim.
Oh, Don't Look Up.
I've heard it's terrible.
So I had heard that too. I had heard a lot about this movie. Just like on the edge, right? Like I'm not scrolling through Twitter looking for "Don't Look Up," hashtag "Don't Look Up" sucks, whatever. Mm-hmm. But through osmosis, I just kind of picked up like everybody is really just shitting on this movie, and for different reasons, right? It's not like everybody has an opinion on, oh, it sucks because of this, like it's poorly made or this other thing. It's like everybody seemed to hate it for very nebulous reasons. I couldn't understand exactly why. And so I watched it and I came away with the exact same feeling. I'm like, I don't like this at all, but I can't really tell you exactly why I don't like it. I don't like Jonah Hill's character. I think he's a piece of shit and I would kick him in the dick if I ever saw him. I think it is so like Leonardo DiCaprio is a good actor, but the shit that they have him do in this makes him very much unlikable. Not because he's not a good guy. Like I think he's a very good guy in the film. Well, not very good. He's good-ish. Certainly certain aspects of him are good, but like the way it's performed and the way they like linger on moments just makes me go, you're trying too hard. You're trying too hard to make this an event. And I know it's supposed to be satire, but I wasn't feeling it. I really wasn't, to the point where halfway through this movie, I turned it off because I just was not feeling it. We got to the point where Jennifer Lawrence goes to visit her parents. They open the door, they say something to her, and I was like, fuck this. I don't need this. And I turned it off.
It's tough to satirize something like global warming at this phase. Like, and I think a lot of what I read is people being like, this felt like a movie that these filmmakers made, and they're like already clapping themselves on the back for having solved, the public perception of global warming when they're not even intelligently grappling with. And I'm
not saying anything new about it. Like,
and I'm disappointed, especially in Leonardo DiCaprio, because he is pretty good for being a climate advocate, and like the fact that he signed on and thought this. Again, I haven't seen it, so I'm making the mistake of perhaps criticizing something I haven't seen and understand.
No, but you're absolutely
right. The fact
right.
that you get this much kind of like, this ain't it, chief, from such a huge swath of the internet that, like, yeah.
I mean, it's a movie about the end of the world where everybody is more concerned with how their image holds up publicly and just being a petty dick to people. And I'm like, yeah, okay, there are people in the world like this. I don't need to watch this. It sucks. I already know it. Like, what am I going to do? What is this going to change? Yeah.
Like, I've gotten that way about a lot of stuff. Like, people give me shit about like not being into the latest Sicario, or even like if Breaking Bad would come back. And I'm like, but I'm kind of done with films that traffic on the entertainment value of trafficking drugs, because it's beyond disgusting to me that, we throw people in jail, that we ruin neighborhoods, that we, just get involved in people's adult medical life, and the insane crime and violence that ensue because of it all. I'm the same way with like some of the like political stuff. Is like, I just this satire of some of the stuff going on right now. I guess if you can laugh at it, but I have a hard time. So
I might just be done with those types of satires because it was too much. You and a lot of
people, seems like, and then finally, and I'd say take that to the bottom, except for pretty much already is, and then Encanto, another Lin-Manuel Miranda, delightful flick that says a lot about the human spirit. I actually learned a thing or two about myself watching this film. I'm gonna send it to the top.
All right, I haven't seen it.
We can immediately then start knock it down, because it's a Disney cartoon. It's a great family film. It's all about intergenerational trauma. In the context, it's just about that, and it's got a really because like a lot of times you got that, and you got the family setup. This setup is like the grandmother survived like a rebel guerrilla purge of her people.
Sounds pretty dark for a Disney movie.
Yeah, like sometimes like you get a character that's like lost your mother to cancer, and I can't lose you guys the same way, and like that's understandable. But like when a grandma's like something. Yeah, like I almost lost entire family due to paramilitary goons. I can't afford to lose you, and I'm a hyper reactionary and vigilant and hyper vigilant asshole. It's like, okay, you're right, Grandma. Like I can't understand that position. I've never watched my husband be gunned down and why with my twin babies in my hands. Like fuck. Yeah, I'm ready to forgive a lot of some of this stuff. So it's great. So we've got which is better, Encanto or Matrix Resurrections?
I don't know. I haven't seen Encanto.
I'll say Encanto then. What's better, 8-Bit Christmas or Matrix Resurrections?
8-Bit Christmas.
I agree. What's better, Matrix Resurrections or Spider-Man No Way Home?
Spider-Man, come on, to the top of
Spider-Man's
Spider-Man.
better, to the top of Spider-Man. All right, this is rapid fire. We've gotten all our shit out. Now we're just moving shit on the board. Harder They Fall.
Controversial. To the top.
The top. Yes.
Right.
Yes, we are. The Last Duel. Floating for me here.
Okay, well, float it. Yeah.
Dune 2021.
Ooh.
I don't want to take it to the top again.
All right, put it there. We'll see how it sits because I think it's better than a few of those.
Okay, here's where it gets really tough, man. No Time to Die. Better than Last Duel, better than Matrix Resurrections, better than 8-Bit Christmas, better than Encanto.
Nope.
I could entertain an argument, but I think you're right.
Not better than Spider-Man.
Not better than Spider-Man.
Just barely. It was good, but
these are all going to be brutal now because we actually have I think we're going to have a solid top 20 movies. The Suicide Squad.
Shit.
Better than Spider-Man. Is it better? I think it's better than Spider-Man.
Oh, you think it's better than Spider-Man? Where's the heart? I forget. What is the heart of that movie? Oh, man,
the Ratcatcher's daughter.
Ratcatcher's daughter?
Yeah, and like Idris Elba's like kind of like healing his relationship with his daughter through getting to know Ratcatcher and her whole deal, and yeah, and Polka Dot Man and the pathos with his mother, and I don't know,
right.
I it's more of like it's kind of the same way. It's like you're surprised that the movie found a heart at all with the fact that it's like one of its big set piece laughs is Peacemaker and Idris Elba's character, I can't remember, Vindicator or whatever, massacring human beings that they think are the bad guys, and it turns out they're the protagonists. And it's kind of like, like how does this movie have any heart at all? This movie ends up with a fucking insane demented kaiju fight between
starfish,
between a giant starfish and Harley Quinn with a spear of destiny.
Oh, and it's so gross.
Speaking of the Harley Quinn fight, the epic fight that's like, like we talked about that on Last Lunch about, it's like half Adam West Batman with pow, kabam, and these crazy psychedelic visuals of her killing and arterial sprays and turning into flowers and butterflies. And
Spider-Man is such a crowd pleaser, though. Such a crowd pleaser from every crowd, right? Like,
yeah, but it sucks that this Spider-Man has got the full force of like 10 Spider-Man movies behind it, and it's even redeeming 3 Spider-Man movies, Spider-Man movies, if we're being honest, that kind of suck.
Yeah.
And Suicide Squad is starting in a ditch that Suicide Squad dug for it. I kind of think Suicide Squad's the better pure standalone film for sure. But Spider-Man No Way Home does have that fucking crazy momentum.
Yeah, and I just remember it. I don't know. I'm a sucker for like really well-developed themes, and Spider-Man has one, right? Like the coming together of the 3 Spider-Men to take down the bad guy together. Like I get it. It's that's Marvel's thing, right? They bring everybody stronger together. Yeah, I get that, but like, I guess I'm a sucker for it. I don't know. I see your case for Suicide Squad. You might be right. I might have just an affinity for Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is legit like one of the only superheroes I give a shit about and have for the entire run of their films. So like, well, except for like Andrew Garfield stuff, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even see those. I don't know.
I might try to press you on this later, but
yeah, we can
right now
revisit.
Suicide Squad's sitting pretty beneath Spider-Man. The Last Duel, is it better than Matrix Resurrections? Resurrection?
I don't, man, I need to see this again because I'm not a good judge of this, apparently. I remember not liking Last Duel. I liked aspects of it, but not all of it.
I think it's better than I think it's right under Encanto for me.
Okay.
But if you're not feeling it,
I definitely like 8-Bit Christmas more than Last Duel, but if you like it more, yeah, put it 7.
Right. What do you think about Candyman? How high is this fucker gonna rise?
Ooh, I liked Candyman.
I like Candyman a lot. It's right in the No Time to Die Suicide Squad for me. And
that's what I was thinking, right between those.
Does this feel right? Or, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
So we got 1 Dune, 2 Harder They Fall, 3 Spider-Man, 4 The Suicide Squad, 5 Candyman, 6 No Time to Die. We'll see. Because now we got Pig. I'm not a Pig lover, but I think Pig is already better than everything up till Encanto. Maybe even better than Encanto because it's not an animated Disney film.
I'm surprised you're going to put this so high. I thought you didn't like this.
I was disappointed compared to its rep.
Gotcha.
I see it's a quality film, and I think this guy's going to go places, but it's kind of like one of these, like, I don't know. I felt like every once in a while, the movie critic community just decides to jerk themselves off over something, and Pig was the designated jerk-off movie. It felt like to me.
Certainly could be.
But I'm a hater, so.
Yeah. I feel like the Pig and Last Duel kind of traveled together here. But
okay. Do you want to put it over Last Duel? You probably do, right?
I probably would. Yeah. I mean, I certainly would, but it's not my list. Right. It's our list.
How about the Green Knight?
That travels in a pack with Last Duel also to me. I don't know. I like Pig, but I like all these movies above it. Perhaps even more. Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, this is a brutal category this year. To me, I think it's, if we're going to say that these travel in a pack of essentially prestige A24, immaculately shot and lit movies, then I think it's the best of the 3. But, you know, In the Heights, I think it's fine where it's at. It's underneath The Matrix. It's certainly not better than Encanto. Boy, what a great A Quiet Place Part 2.
I don't want to do this. I quit. This is too hard.
I know, dude. We're getting there though. We're getting there. There.
F9 is still on this list. God damn it. All right. Quiet Place Part 2.
Is it better than Candyman? I don't think it is.
I think I'm with you on that.
I think it's better than an 8-Bit Christmas, but that's about it.
A Quiet Place Part 2 has nothing that really stood out to me that I remember being bad, whereas 8-Bit Christmas does. Like, that bully stuff was not great. No Time to Die has a thing or two. Candyman doesn't really. I remember... I don't remember any negatives about Candyman. Yeah,
it was scary. It had a pretty good, you know, like.
So it's got to go at least that high.
Structure. All the way to Candyman.
I feel like it's got to go all the way to Candyman at least.
So it's better than the No Time to Die. That's where I have a hard time because it's just not. I don't know about that.
I'm trying to think, was there anything in that movie that stood out to me that was like, that wasn't great? Or
I don't know how fine a hair to split here, because I also like, do we No Time to Die is like the Spider-Man thing where it's got the full weight of 4 James Bond films thrusting and like behind it, pushing it, and all of our cultural baggage and affinity for James Bond, where, you know, No Time to, or Quiet Place 2 is just John Krasinski saying, okay, I can do another one.
Uh-huh.
But it's really well conceived thing of what it's doing.
I think some of these are just going to get pushed down, and the real fight's going to be what makes it to the top 10 and what doesn't. Because I think that stuff around like No Time to Die, Quiet Place is probably pretty safe based on what's left on this list.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Mortal Kombat hits the heights of a Suicide Squad or something.
In fact, let's do this. Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings, it cannot be higher than the Suicide Squad.
Sure. Where would you put it?
Oh, you didn't see it. Fuck. Kind of below a No Time to Die, like right in that where, man, that might be damning a faint praise. This is tough, guys. This top 10 is going to be brutal. Is Mortal Kombat better than any? Is it better than Matrix Resurrections? I kind of think it's fine where it's at.
I think I can stay there. Yeah. I think if the main character was more charismatic and fun,
I agree.
It'd be better, but yeah.
Yeah. If you had a Jet Li in his prime or something.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about Godzilla versus Kong? I think it's right there, and this is it's nested under Mortal Kombat's wing. The Conjuring 3 is fine. Fast 9 needs to come up a bit.
Yeah. But where?
You know, I'll put it above the A24 block.
So that puts it at 11 so far. Does it go up?
The top 10. I don't think so.
Does it go up any higher?
Make your argument.
Fucking Encanto. Encanto is a movie I haven't seen that I hear is good.
Let me ask you this. Is it better than 8-Bit Christmas? Is F9 better than 8-Bit Christmas? Because to me, I don't think so. But also, I got Christmas goggles on.
Yeah. I really liked 8-Bit Christmas for what it did. Nah, I want 8-Bit Christmas. You know, I will say this about 8-Bit Christmas. I had a hard time settling into it. It was...
Really? It got me
something
right
about
away.
The tone of it in the very beginning was like a little too, hey, this is just a nostalgia grab here. Like all this is we know that you late millennials, early Gen Xers fucking love this stuff, and you are going to eat this up.
Yeah.
There was something about it, and it took me a while.
Even the name felt cynical. 8-Bit Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, and it kind of it really had to work to get me, but it ultimately got me, and it got me good.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it might be fine there. Is it going to stay on the top 10?
It might squeak in the top 10 because I think we're kind of done here. Like we got Conjuring 3 below Godzilla versus Kong. That's fair.
And then we get into the floaters and
Malignant and Jungle Cruise and Zola. I gotta rescue some of these guys.
Sure. I doubt they're cracking top 10, but probably moving up.
But I got their gosh. In the Heights is better than Matrix. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm starting to get into the hook and Zola. All this shit is better.
Are any of them going to make the top 10 is the question. Because,
no, they're not. I just want to make sure there's a clear distinction between this and then we got what I think is mediocre, the Mini Saints of Newark, and that's below. But okay. So, Godzilla, Mortal Kombat's above the mediocre line, right? Get into the top 20? What needs to be in the top 20?
I mean, I don't care about the top 20. I only care about 10.
Below top, okay. All right, well, that's fair. So then I think let's go back up to top.
Yeah.
Dune right now is #1 movie.
That seems generous given its half-baked story state.
You might be correct. Because, and there's no guarantee that Dene is going to knock the other one out of but I can't imagine he's not. And then like when this becomes part one of a whole 2-piece thing that's amazing, but you are right. If you are not aware of the story to come, or you don't have faith in Villeneuve, then yeah, like that's a big liability. So I can see that.
And also, crucially, I think they didn't cut that movie where they should have cut that movie. As far as endings go, I think it overstayed its welcome. The journey through the desert was too much at the end.
Again, I haven't seen the second half. That might make a lot more sense, the pacing, when we see how they choose to begin the next one. But like, yeah, those are certainly valid criticisms.
Yeah, just to say, like, I don't think that was my number one favorite movie. I think a lot of people probably would say it was their number one movie because they've been anticipating this for so long, but I'm not a Dune fan.
It felt good watching it.
Yeah. Like, I've never been a Dune fan. I started reading the book and I thought it was cool, but I only got a few chapters in before the movie came out. And I notoriously hate David Lynch and all the stuff he makes, pretty much. So Dune was never on my list of movies.
That never had anything to do with this movie.
David Lynch never had anything to do with it. This one,
David Lynch, yeah, he didn't hurt you with this movie.
Right. Yeah, but I had never seen the original, so I had no expectations. Is the thing, right? So
I think would be more of in its favor. I'm surprised you're not more like just kind of blown away by the storytelling and the world building, because that's the world building in this movie.
There's a lot of it. It's like it's so economically done that it's hard to like feel a lot of it because it's just, it has to happen fast, right? And I get a couple of moments with like Oscar Isaacs or Isaac whatever, and his kid, and like those are nice moments. Those are moments that have heart in them.
Archetype of the dad and the son and the mother and the warrior, the warrior
poet,
priest or whatever, and there's the big bad villain. There's very big art, and it uses those to kind of like quickly, there's no question about who you should root for and who you shouldn't. I
came away with some questions about like, okay, what is the plot here? Like, why did they do this? Why did they do that? But they might be questions I'm supposed to have, or questions that are answered by like just a tiny half sentence of dialogue that I missed somewhere along the line because it was mixed in with 4 other half sentences that you needed.
Have you watched this since it's come out? Because I've seen it 3 times now.
No, I've seen it once.
It's back on HBO Max for more 4K viewings.
Nice. Might have to check it out again.
Yeah, I think it would be my number one, but I recognize your criticisms. So let's play this right now. Number 2 is Harder They Fall. Is that over Dune?
Harder They Fall, man, it's a good movie. It's a good movie.
A lot of sand in both these movies.
Sure. We're judging purely on sand content. Yeah.
Dune is the sandiest movie of 2021.
That's true. They got a whole planet of it.
Oh, you know what? I think I left Old off this list too.
Oh, I saw Old. Yeah. Old was not very good. Had an interesting premise. Yeah.
Old is right in the Godzilla Conjuring zone. Boom.
Yeah, but that sounds good.
A lot of sand gives Dune a run for its sand money.
Sure. I don't know, man. Harder They Fall is very, very good.
Is Spider-Man No Way Home better than Harder They Fall? I say no. But it's a conversation.
Man, I really loved Spider-Man. Spider-Man might be my favorite movie of the year. But again, this is not my list. This is our list.
Well, we got to synthesize it.
Right.
All right. I'm going to do something. I'm going to do an experiment here. A1. You say this is J1, which means this has to be a 1-2 thing at somehow.
I think so, yeah.
All right,
Spider-Man.
We might have to coin a doom it. I don't know.
Maybe I love the way that Spider-Man ends, with Peter Parker having given up everything. Peter Parker being cast into hell, essentially. Like he's he's not just like giving up his life, right? Because a lot of people have done that as a heroic sacrifice, but this is like giving up your life and then having to live the life without the life you remember having. It's that you loved. It's a brutal ending. And I just love it. Like that like you have to make a sacrifice, and it takes a lot of people making sacrifices to make things better for everyone. It's
Campbellian. Like it's Frodo. From Lord of the Rings. He saved the world for everyone but himself.
Mm-hmm.
And like the level, I mean, that's kind of been a low-key thing, and at least my understanding of like Marvel is Spider-Man is kind of the most marvelous Marvel hero there ever is going to be. Like at the bottom of the day, he's the most human, the most selfless. In some canons, I think he got the power cosmic. He was the most powerful. Like it makes sense that like this kid just bears the weight of the world and does something. So like he's a kid, he makes mistakes, but my God, he atones and makes up for them.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
The way that they do the generational stuff here, I think adds to that theme of like, you know, they put so much weight on this kid, but then they bring in the older Spider-Man, right? Who are not just there for fan service. They're there to say like, this is people of all ages and yeah, I know like in the movie, it's not, oh, they came from a different time. They came from a different universe or whatever. But in our real world, these are all the different generations of Spider-Man who've gone before, working together to make the world a better place. I don't know. I really love this movie. It's probably my number one, like I said.
What do you think about between Harder They Fall and Suicide Squad?
That might be where Harder They falls is 3 for me.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Because Suicide Squad doesn't have that heart to it, right? Like that distinct.
It has it, but it's much more in passing than the fact that it's the entire movie structure and plot revolves around.
A movie's more about action and comedy than it is like the heart.
Kind of wears that on its sleeve,
of the film. So yeah, I'm good with that.
The Suicide Squad is at number 4. Does Candyman best it?
No.
Do we really think Candyman's a better film than the last Daniel Craig James Bond? Because Candyman's at 5.
I just don't have the love for James Bond that so many people do.
The top 5 is the real prestige slot for me.
Yeah. I don't know, man. What do you think? Because you're the James Bond fan of the two of us, for sure.
I'm not the biggest but yes, of the two of us, I definitely am.
Yeah. Is this monumental? Because it's a monumental James Bond, right? They've never done what they do at the end of James Bond in a James Bond before.
Yes.
So
yes,
it's a big fucking deal.
Yes.
And it's another one of those, heroic sacrifice type of things.
Man, it's tough. I guess I don't think so. I think Candyman that does round out our top 5.
Okay.
Because I'm looking down, like Shang-Chi, as much as I like it, maybe I like it more than James Bond. But I certainly like A No Time to Die better than A Quiet Place.
Okay.
I think people are going to be pissed that like Encanto and 8-Bit Christmas is going above like The Green Knight and Pig and the last. There's going to be some people that are like really livid about that. I kind of think we have our top 10 and our top 5.
To those people, I would say start your own award show and you can rank them however the fuck you'd like.
Yeah. It's
however
just
you goddamn like.
It's just as stupid as any other award show,
Right?
So,
at least we're
have
just
Jesse Plemons crying about his dog or whatever the fuck that movie was about. Like, I mean, look, this isn't
Channing
the
Tatum?
Oscar list.
That dog movie came out this year.
that this isn't a Oscar list.
No.
I haven't seen like half of the movies that are on the Oscars. It's one of the weaknesses.
If it was, Don't Look Up would get nominated. It's not.
Right. This is more like MTV's or People's Choice type awards. I'm very curious to see what everybody else thought about these, again, first round movies.
Me too.
I think this is a good top 5 and a good top 10. I'm happy with it.
Cool.
All right.
I'm too.
We gonna leave it there, or are we going to? Yeah, I guess we got to leave it there. We're running out of time.
Yeah, I feel like at some point we should do like Giant Bomb does and make individual top lists, because that would be fun too. Where like you make your top list, I make my top list.
We go away, we come together and synthesize. Yeah. Although I gotta say, I want to do a coin flip for the top though.
Okay. All right. This is how the Oscars does it, by the way. Well, they say, all right, we got two that are pretty good here. Let's just flip it.
They just lie about it.
Right.
I don't know where the coin of doom is, because it's all packed away, because I haven't got my What can we flip a CR 2032?
Sure.
I mean, this is deep lore, right?
That's improperly weighted, I'm pretty sure.
This is going back to Gong Radio days.
God.
This is heads, of course.
All right, the writing is heads.
The minus is tails. The negative side is tails. Spider-Man is heads, because he's number 1 now.
Okay.
Dune is tails.
Spider-Man is a plus.
Catch it, put it on my hand, and then hold it up to the camera.
Okay.
Oh, I flipped. Okay.
Oh, dude.
Shiny side up, baby.
Dude.
Baldies controversy. Dune.
We can't.
There's so many ways that
we can't release these deliberations.
There's so many ways this could piss people off. Number 1, the fact that like it's a coin flip. Number 2, it's a coin flip that only I presided over the veracity of, and I said oops when I first saw it, because I realized I flipped it over to my palm, not the back of my
It's okay. Both of those are excellent movies.
All right. That'll put this category to bed. We got a bunch more major, still have best actor. Both persuasions. We have a ton of minor categories. Lots more to come in the Baldies 2022 deliberations.